Secret tricks used by police. Tail light touch. Cops can do this for whatever reason they choose, but if they're particularly suspicious of you, they're likely to do something a bit weird: tap the tail light of your vehicle with their hand. But why? For a start, tapping the car might startle the driver and make them pause what they're doing. So, if they're trying to quickly hide away any unlawful items, this short pause could be enough to catch them in the act. That's not all though. By exerting a little pressure on the tail light, the officer is also sneakily ensuring that the trunk is locked, so nobody can jump out from it and ambush them. H2No. If you do ever end up in the interrogation room, you should remember one simple thing: if the interrogator offers you a cup of water, don't, under any circumstances, accept it. If that means being thirsty, you deal with it. This is because the cops probably aren't worrying about your hydration levels. Nope, this seemingly innocent gesture is actually a great way of stealing your DNA and fingerprints. By simply picking up a cup of water and taking a sip from it, you've left both your prints and saliva all over the cup. In other words, a veritable feast of data they can identify you with. The police can't collect a DNA sample from you unless they have a warrant. But if you leave your water cup behind after using it, it's considered abandoned. Therefore, the police don't need a warrant to take it and collect the sample. Two-faced tactics. The police are allowed to downright lie to your face if they think it will help them. If a police officer suspects that you've committed a crime, but they don't have any evidence, they might just lie and tell you your fingerprints have been found at the scene anyway. That way, if you're innocent, you'll still deny it, but if you're guilty, they might trick you into confessing. Cops have even been known to bluff about a supposed eyewitness that's willing to testify against you. Of course, there is no eyewitness, but if they can make you believe there is, you might panic and admit to an offense. Lines and lies. Lie detectors, or polygraph tests, are a common trope in detective movies. You know, those devices an interrogator straps onto a suspect before asking them a load of increasingly awkward questions. They're supposed to tell when you're lying and draw it all out in a neat little line graph. Well, the devices are real, but they're not proven to detect lies. They just measure heart rate and breathing patterns, which change when you're anxious. But even an honest person can get nervous when under interrogation, so the tests aren't actually reliable. Not everyone knows this though, which the police sneakily use to their advantage. The oldest trick. The good cop, bad cop interrogation method is the oldest trick in the book for a reason. It works. It's used by police forces all over the world and it's so effective because of basic human psychology. The bad cop acts so overtly terrible that when the good cop comes in and acts nice, they seem way nicer than they would normally. The good cop can then exploit this and gain the trust of the suspect. Then, when it's the bad cop's turn to pick up the interrogation again, they act so threatening that it drives the suspect further into the good cop's influence. Cooperating with the good cop suddenly seems a lot better than having to deal with the bad cop, and so, suspects are more likely to give up information. Siren sounds. It might seem like they've been solely designed to burst your eardrums, but their painfully high volume is essential for police to get around quickly and safely. Have you ever noticed there are actually a few different siren sounds though? Well, that's not just random, each one has its own specific cues. Most people don't know, but there are three main sounds. It's usually used when the police want to pull someone over. The short bursts of sound bounce off of walls better, making it easier to hear in built-up cities, where there are more people to pull over. Then, there's wail mode. Like the yelp, this siren alternates between high and low notes. However, it's a lot slower, which means it's best suited to emptier, rural environments where the drawn-out sound can reach further. Finally, we have the high-low siren. There it is, your classic nay-naw sound. Cryptic code words. Codes aren't just for fun, U.S. law enforcement actually use one to covertly talk to each other over their radios. They're called the 10 codes. Each code starts with the number 10 to indicate something important is following before a second number is spoken, which signals the specific phrase. For example, 10 to 4 translates as understood, but 10 to 54 means livestock on the highway. Firstly, they helped ensure communication was clear and easy to understand. The codes also helped disguise police reports from the public. That way, operations could be kept a secret, and if a civilian accidentally tuned in, they'd just hear 10 to 98, rather than jailbreak, and be saved the panic.